Janice, how you doing? Did I mute you? I don't think so. Unmute yourself. There you go. There you are.
All right.
Oh my goodness, we're live. I'm gonna bring the mic up.
Whole new world out there right now.
Welcome, everybody, to the Music Therapy Laz Music is Therapy show. And I'm live from my studio without my laptop. And I've got our illustrious co-hostess with the mostest, Janice Lalla from La La Land. And if you could tell by
by wireless wired speakers.
Hey, check it out. I got wireless earbuds.
Earbuds.
Brought to you by Janice's wireless earbuds, or something's going on there. You got something hooked up into your ears. And I'm much higher than you are. Maybe I should go down like this. Look at this. Then we match. How's that?
Well, I came forward, so because
I'll go like this. I'll go like this. How's that?
Good, perfect. See,
we're about the same size then. And then let's see what's going on in the comments here. So we have an interesting show today. We got Scott Nickerson saying cheers. Oh, that was William DeSilva popped in. Take the blanket off your mic, Laz. Yeah, so just so you know, this is going to have a blanketed mic, apparently, because I'm using my phone and my phone's Bluetooth earbud setup here. Now I can remove that. Should I? Maybe I could switch and tell me if it's better. I should have tested this with Janice, but I didn't.
How am I sounding, you guys?
Let's see. You sound a little echoey, kind of in the box kind of sound, probably like how I sound or worse, but it's all right. I probably sound worse because I'm using earbuds. So let's take off the Bluetooth headset and just go to.
Well, these are Bluetooth.
How's that? Is that better? Tell me if that's better.
Well, ask the guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm asking the chat. William, is that better? Let me know. Hey, Laz says blackjack guitar. Used to be the blackjack guitar nut. Now it's just a blackjack guitar. Says hey to Janice as well, and to the chatsters. And then we've got Dan Gorman saying hey everybody. Yeah, BC Rich is saying hi to La La Land people, known as Nutmeg State. Ah, you guys got the nutmegs there?
Nutmeg will mess you up.
They do? Nutmegs? How do they mess you up?
It's like a hallucinogenic.
Oh my goodness. There's so many of those in the world. I wonder why are there so many hallucinogenics out there? There must be a purpose. I think plants came up. I think the plants came up with that to keep us from eating them. Because they didn't want us to eat them, maybe, and they were like, you know what? Let's poison this food so they won't eat us. And then that's what they do. They get you to be like, whoa! But then we realized that hey, this is actually kind of fun. And then they didn't realize that now they actually want more of our fruits. Anyway, yeah. So William, is the blanket off the mic? Is it any better now? Minimally better. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I left my laptop at my mom's in my laptop bag in haste from yesterday's scrambling to get all of the live gear set up. Some people didn't show up at the announced or agreed to time to help us load and unload and reload and set up and connect things, and things were missing. And you know how this goes. Have you ever done a live, Janice? I know you go do like where you jump in.
Actually,
open mic.
I've done open mics at my Eagles Club, my FOE Eagles, and I've been the host. Me and Jim. So
have you ever had to do the whole thing though? Like in other words, there's nothing there, and the only thing that was there was that they moved the pool tables out of the way, and we had the space.
All that.
And we had to set up everything, the sound, the lights, the whole thing.
And Jim got so messed up one time that I had to do it all by myself to bring everything out to the car. He was really messed up. I don't remember exactly the whole thing, but I know that he couldn't do it at the end because he was pretty funny.
Yeah. Once you get older, and I'm still doing all right for almost 58. I'll say I think for almost 58-year-old guy, I'm doing all right. I'm in pretty good shape. considering all
Well,
the crazy things I've gotten my body into and put myself through physically.
well,
Thankfully, still
Jim
in
was
pretty good shape.
done at 53, so
Yeah, so Hobo Roadie knows because he's a Hobo Roadie. He knows all about this, right? Loading out at the end of the night kind of shows people's true character, right? Absolutely. At our festival, and we'll talk about live performance and music as therapy. And my experience last night, first time playing a live rock and roll gig in a bar. I've never done that before. It's the first time ever.
oh,
I've done a lot of gigs where I played piano and jams at people's houses, and I've done weddings and funerals and things like that. So there were times when I've played in front of a couple few thousand people,
right.
But they were part of events. They weren't like they were all there just to see me, that would be something, maybe in the future, maybe that's something in the future, right? We all hope
Hey,
for
you're
that
never
kind of
too
thing.
old.
Yeah, but I always why I wanted to talk about this particular topic is part of not just the industry of music and how it packages performers and musicians as a product to sell so they can make money, and then the musician then can make some money off their art, right? It's an interesting industry, and it's not one that I felt was for me. I thought that, if I could find a way to get into the industry of writing and making music for like maybe TV or for movies or something like that. But yeah, I it was pretty tough to find a way into that circle too. And that's why I built that recording studio up in the 90s, that I really had that in mind, but it never came to fruition the way I had hoped for it to. And, things happen like that. Sometimes you have partnerships that don't work out in so many bands. I mean, that's one of the other sides of being a band member and being in a band and trying to put a band together is, finding the right bandmates to put together a band that becomes successful. It's really, really hard to do that. Just finding the right people that click and have the same, they can write good music together and they all agree and like to hang out and whatnot. I mean, look at even the
I've
most
been
famous band, the Beatles, right? They blew apart too.
I've been
Right?
looking for over 15 years.
Right? Man. And one of the things I can say that is an advantage of living in a more densely populated area, like the Bay Area here in San Francisco Bay Area, and very
Yeah,
rich area for music, very well known for a lot of music going back, and they have festivals and events all around the vicinity, like you have in Carmel and Monterey, the Monterey Jazz Festival, right? Famous. You've got in Gurneville and Napa, and a lot of opportunities to perform for all kinds of gigs if you want to do, be a wedding band or just a cover band. So I've been offered that, avenue now by several people because of them. They're seeing me up there playing keyboards, like, oh, hey, this guy can play keyboards, and I was able to get the right sounds and play the right notes, and sometimes it's that simple when it comes to like putting a cover band together. You just need a guy up there who knows
that's
what it's supposed to
everything.
sound like. Yeah, that's everything, isn't it?
Everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
And how to end the friggin' song.
Yeah, and that's the thing about jamming. When you go to a jam, it never ends.
There's certain ways of actually
Right?
figuring out musically when the
Yeah.
end is about to happen.
Yeah, you got to have your cue.
Your
Yeah.
cues, even though you're not doing any gestures, the cues are there with the way that the music sounds.
Right.
It's going to be how it sounds like when it's wrapping up. You have to
Exactly.
understand when wrapping up
Yeah.
happens. And then either they
Janice, see, this is what I'm talking about. I knew that this was going to be a great topic to have you as my co-host on, as always anyway, but to have your input is because you have been there. You were there and you've done it
since November 1st. Maybe June 2nd.
Oh my God.
Be doing it.
All right.
I may be taking out my book.
Yeah, well, you should write a book. You should write a book about these experiences, Janice. Yeah, no, really. But hey, check this out. Look at Hobo Roadie's comment here. I gotta put this up on here. I wish I could remember who it was. out on the road with the full walnut. Okay, if you guys know walnut wood, it's real heavy. B3. Okay, B3 is a Hammond organ, and it's got two tiers of keys, and it has a built-in Leslie speaker cabinet inside of it. So that has a motor. So the motor is heavy, plus the cabinet's speaker cones and the magnets on those. I mean, what we're talking about here is like a beast of a piece of equipment here. That
Right.
thank God I was able to pull off the same tones with my Roland VRO9 that I can pick up with one hand like this. Woo, woo.
Like Felix
So
Cavalier, Rascals.
yeah,
His
I got to
organ
demo
is
that thing for you guys,
massive, massive.
right?
You
Yeah,
know the Rascals, right?
of
The Young
course.
Rascals.
Yeah,
Well, he's
I
got this
know the
big,
Rascals
big
are.
organ
I mean, I
thing.
don't know them by name, but yeah.
Oh, I do.
So
It's been since like
yeah, BC Rich
ninth grade.
response. Oh, I'm getting something happened.
I do. Yep.
Oh, maybe you got the notification that we're live. So BC Rich
No, I
responded
put
to
my
Hobo's
phone on.
comment that someone who has a metal plate to replace their spine, I'm guessing would be that person.
Right.
Yeah. Well, later in life for sure, probably, and there are, how many musicians, even Van Halen to, how many like Prince, all these people as they got older, Tom Petty, so many people were having trouble, and then if it wasn't an addiction, then it was just the bad prescription or just uses of medications, like some of these pain medications that are being used out there nowadays are really dangerous. They're so easy to overdose on, and people are dying because they don't know how to properly prescribe these things, perhaps, or use them. And pain is one of those things that when you can relieve it, you want more of that relief. Like our friend Quentin James knows all about that. A lot of us who have been following his exploits, as you want to call it, over the years he's always got a struggle at that point when he's getting to the point where he needs that shot.
I need that shot. I saw
you
that.
need that shot.
I want that thing.
See, that's what I'm talking about. But then the thing about that too is that it could kill you, or it can do other harm to you. But yeah, you have to have a good doctor. You got to have a good doctor.
Can't do nothing.
And there's our other friend too, who's in need of a surgery. I'm talking about people in the community. If you're new to this channel, by the way, this is the Music is Therapy show. I called my channel Music Therapy Labs because I at that time when I put the channel together, I had the idea of doing something musical and with therapy because I'd studied psychology for a couple years there, and I was thinking about going all the way and getting a doctorate in that field. But life gets in the way. At an older age, there are just too many things you've got otherwise going on in family and in your own personal life. It makes it very difficult to go through the process of education the way it's set up. It's a little easier now if you're self-motivated enough to do online kind of stuff, but there's nothing like actually being immersed in it for years. Hey, there's Johnny Beane saying he was there. Oh no, you know what? I'll be right back. Talk to the folks for a minute. I'll be right back.
So really, it's like they don't understand how to end the song, or they don't even want to end the song. And I'm over there trying to figure out, I have to make some adjustments because the song is already gone, and I got to start over again to finish it off. And it's really crazy. And it's like 3-minute song could get to be 9 minutes when they're talking about, a 10-minute set, a 10-minute window, and it's crazy. They must love it, or they just don't know. They just want to keep the song going instead of
Can you guys still hear me
ending
okay?
it in the 3 minutes that it's supposed to be on. If you know what I'm
Can you hear me okay?
If you can hear me okay. Could you hear me okay?
I
can't really hear me because these earbuds are really the same thing as the white ones where everything's all canceled out.
Are we echoing or anything like that? No.
You sound like you got a little reverb.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I'm gonna have that with my phone thing. Yeah, my earbuds are not gonna work, so I have to pull them out. Anyway, so yeah, every song needs to end. Absolutely,
The
with the
root
bass solo, preferably one that
and the root.
incorporates tapping and
It
slapping.
ends at the root note.
Yeah, at the
root
root note.
chord,
You're
the
right.
root note.
Absolutely. Well, let's say hi to everybody. We've already been into this, going all over the place on tangents, but this is definitely the topic that I thought would be fun to talk about. And let me move more to the middle here. And then Matt Stewart was first one in to say hello. There he is. And then followed by BC Rich, who said hello to everyone in the chat. 10 days of rain off and on here that ended, so some significant mowing awaits me. So you're going to be out there on the big tractor mowers today, probably, right, BC Rich? And then William De Silva's up here with a word. Word up, bro. What's up? Take the blanket off your mic. We're over there. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me.
That was
okay,
beforehand.
though this is not the best of circumstances since I left my laptop. Johnny, are you by any chance waiting as a guest in the green room? No. Okay. Anyway, Johnny's probably out getting coffee or whatnot. I've got some donuts on my way home from the gig last night, because this is what you do, when you go out on a gig.
Something.
And it's like 11 something when it ends and whatnot, or almost whatever. And you got a little bit of the munchies, and you go out and get some stuff. So I got some donuts on the way home last night from the Donut Wheel here in Livermore. Place has been there forever, and I always get an extra one or two for the next morning. The best way to warm up your donuts is in the oven, not the microwave. In the oven, you warm them up there, and it's just like they came out of the oil, fresh. I'm eating online. Here we are. Well, that's like an apple fritter donut, but not the
it must have
giant
been
size
years
apple
and
fritter,
years
but
and
a
years
donut.
ago that I think Johnny had it. Was it Johnny that had a maple donut at one point?
Wasn't there like a donut burger kind of a thing or something?
A maple
Wendy's
donut.
did it, or who did that? Johnny. I don't recall. It was pretty crazy. I don't know if it was Johnny
Somebody was getting a maple donut. And
it might have been Mancuda that had that like donut burger thingy or whatever it was.
No, it was just a donut.
It's just a donut. Carly Lewis is saying hi to you, Janice. Look at that. Janice. Or Janice.
Janice.
Janice, because you're nice. I thought it was Janice because you're Janice. You're finally catching it live in the Sunday morning for your afternoon,
I want to let you know that I changed the pronunciation of my name. I always hate my name. It's always so plain and difficult. So instead of, because a lot of people like in the Twitch community call me Janice.
Oh, Janice.
Like
that's kind of like Target instead of Target.
Yeah, Target, right, exactly. And that's
it's a little fancier.
It. So I have in my Facebook the pronunciation. I'm Janice Roberta Lalla.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're gonna say Janice, then you can't say Janice Lalla. You have to say Janice Lalla.
So before when people,
right, so from now on, you're Janice Lalla.
So before, when people call me Janice, they got it wrong, and now they're saying Janice, they got it right, and the people that are still calling me Janice got it wrong. But it's okay because they get it wrong just the way as they got it wrong with the Janice part. So either way, I'm accepting either way that they're saying it, but my preferred way to say it in my head is Janice.
So you prefer Janice than Janice.
And then if I'm introduced to anybody new, it's going to be Janice. Okay.
And this just started recently or what?
Well, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right on. Janice, welcome.
Ever since the people on the Twitch
welcome, Janice, to the show. Ooh la la, Janice la la. Ooh la la, says Holly.
Well, people in the in California.
Yeah, it does sound French.
They used to call me Ooh.
It sounds French, yeah.
My nickname was Ooh there in California.
What's that?
Ooh.
California?
Oh, when I lived in California, people used to call me Ooh. Ooh la la.
Oh, ooh la la. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Here she comes. Ooh la la. Well, it's kind
Yeah.
of like Yoko. Oh no, when she came into the room. I'm kidding. Anyway. Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna stay away from the box. I'm going after the box now because I'm in a good mood. So yeah, let's talk about music and performance. So we were talking about your experience with people not knowing how to end a song when they're
Right.
jamming. Now that's the difference between an actual performance versus like when you go to a jam. You hear Johnny talk about that all the time when he pops in on the
Right.
shows. Like, oh, were you out of practice or is it just a jam? Because he's making the point that if you're just hanging out and jamming in a room together, that's not really practicing music. It's a different form of musical experience and performance. In a sense, you're hanging out and jamming, and it takes some different level of talent too, because you do have to have a good ear to follow along where the changes are going. And sometimes people, like when I
Yes,
play the
they
drums,
do. When
right?
you're the boss, when you're the front person, and you're playing the music also, and you're in the rhythm, and you're setting the tone.
Yeah, you're leading it.
I'm leading it.
Yeah, you're the leader of the band at that moment.
And they don't even they pay more attention to the other people that are leading, like before me and after
Right.
me. But then when I get up, they just don't
And that just shows you that they have a lack of experience, in the sense that, like, a really good blues or jazz band, they know, like, okay, they have so long, 12 bars or whatever,
right. And I do
to
the
do
same
their
thing.
part. And then
Right.
the other guy comes, and then the other guy comes, and then you give them a cue, like you were talking
Right.
about. There's a cue, like,
It's a cue.
then the next guy comes,
And there's this one song, the Hold Me Baby song, where I have to, after every verse, I have a spot there for like, there's like 3 or 4 people could do their solo. Like the first one will be the guitar, the next one will be the bass, and then the third one will be maybe the drum solo. But I
or
say
the
that to
trumpet
them.
guy, or the
I say that to them in the beginning, and then when it comes out to do that, nobody's doing anything. And I don't know why they don't pay attention to me. They pay attention to everybody else but me.
Yeah, it's the most annoying thing. Like when you're trying to like get your time to come in on the song, and the other guy keeps going, and you're like, hey, it was my turn. So let's talk about like so that we were going to talk about some of the negative sides of performing. And so and then, like I mentioned in the description, if anyone reads those, I know Johnny doesn't. The bottom line being is that I do try to put a description together to kind of give you an idea of where I want to go with the show. But, we go off the rails all the time. I try to keep it to that. I did put a couple links in there today about how performing on a musical instrument can be used as a form of therapy, or being a creative that creates music for therapy, purposefully. Not like to go play at a bar or whatever, but some of the music, could be that good. And a lot of people experience music as a way of, expressing themselves when they don't have an otherwise voice to be heard. They don't feel heard, or they want to express what's going on in the world and talk about something political or whatever's happening, and get the news out there or information out there about their, plight in life, and all this kind of stuff, everything from cultural differences that we have in the world to, experiences that we want to share that are happy, good experiences, and maybe that we want to teach something to the world and use music as our platform to do that, right? And performing it, is a big part of that. You can write music, and like Johnny and we talked about, what have you done, kind of thing. You write some music in your little cubicle here, or your room, or whatever, and
That's what I did.
what good is it if it's not out there? You got to get it out there. Right?
I wrote my songs in my cubicle at work.
Yeah, right. Robo-Hody, I almost said. Robo-Hody says, who's reading the instructions? Yeah.
It's
yeah,
true.
and then there's musical bullying. Yeah, I don't even think it's that as much as it's maybe more of a musical I wouldn't call it bullying as much as maybe there's a little bit of, they're in the moment, they're in their zone, and they don't know how to even get out of it and give the zone to somebody else, or let someone else into the zone. So there's, like I said, there's a bit of an
I
experience.
was letting them get into the zone.
Right. Yeah,
So they should get
music.
in the
Yeah,
zone.
exactly. Rhodey's Jam Cave. The perfect point here. Open mics, especially, it's usually a potluck. You don't know what you're getting. Some of the musicians know how to play along with the group. Some of them have some experience. And so the point I wanted to make about this, and like share with you a little bit about my first experience playing in a bar gig. There's some definitely positives, a lot more positives than negatives. So first off, let's put that out there. You know, you spend weeks and multiple hours preparing for this one, 3-song event. In my case, I got to play keyboards on 3 songs. I was originally going to play on like 6 songs, but they cut some of them because not everyone had them down. And then I was going to play guitar on about 3 or 4 other songs. But then my sister's friend, Jeff, came to town from Idaho, and she's like, hey, can we have Jeff in on these songs? And so he came to one of the practices, and he was able to, pull off most of what we were playing at practice to where, the guys were comfortable with him playing those songs instead of me. But then at the performance, it didn't come off quite that way. And it's really interesting. I wanted to talk about this, how this can happen. You can have a practice in a room, but it's not the same as when you're on stage or, in front of everybody. And
even if your
yeah,
room
people
is
will
a
have
stage.
different, if you want to call them nerves or level of comfort with where they feel they are with it. There was one song that he started playing and then he just walked off the floor because the bass player was playing an entire, note or half note off, because I think the guys were in drop D playing the song in a different key from the previous song. And then they went to another song that, he came in on playing it at the higher note or something. And I couldn't understand how he couldn't hear it. And I kept trying to tell him, Paul, you got to drop down, just, play it one note lower. Cause you're off. Everyone else is playing it in this key and you're in this other key. And, as a keyboardist, it's easy, I hear it and I just transpose quickly, and I couldn't understand why Paul, the bassist, wasn't swapping, key signatures, basically, right? You have to go from, E to D or whatever, right? And so it was terrible. And so the guitarist guy, Jeff, he just walked up. He's like, I can't play this. It's, you just don't want to do it. And so he walked off. So it's interesting how that can happen, and the other problem I had on like the stage, it wasn't a stage, it was the floor, but I'll call it the stage, is that I kept telling him the whole time for weeks, hey, how are we going to have this set up live? Because I can't hear myself in practice even well enough over you guys when you've got 2 full-on 4x cabs and a double, 4x10, stack, 4x10 marked bass amp, and they crank it. I mean, it's loud, I mean, my ears aren't ringing now. Thankfully, I don't have too much trouble with my ears. Because I didn't go through a whole life of this, wrecking my ears like Johnny Beane has. There were a few moments when I almost got deafened by some idiot who did something really bad and stupid. But bottom line is that, I couldn't hear myself at practices. And I'm like, are we going to have monitors? Are we going to? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to. We get there and there's no monitors. And I'm like, how am I going to hear myself? You guys, I'm like, geez, so I said, there's a JBL monitor. Can I go get that? And can we use that? Oh, yeah, go get that and use that. So I go back, I get this monitor and I'm wanting to plug it in. And I'm like, okay, so, is that mixer powered? Does it give power to the? No. I'm like, well, this isn't a powered, so I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, never again am I going to leave it up to somebody else. And this is like another lesson learned kind of thing. You never want to leave it up. Hey, Mitch Heyman, dude, what's up, dude? Nice to see you in here, dude. Mitch Heyman, I think you still have a wrench, right? Or are you blue? Is he blue? You still have a wrench. I don't think I took it away, even though you haven't been around a bit. I remember giving you a wrench way early on because you made me that awesome, cool thing that I went, right here, take it out. Right? That thing, my little card holder. Look how many cards this thing's holding.
That's Brad.
That's a couple few years of NAM.
Brad and
Anyway.
58.
Yeah, man. But Mitch is cool. So yeah, but man, you know, I could have brought my own monitor. I even had this keyboard amp I could have brought and used that as my monitor. I could have, you know, I had headphones, but I couldn't hear over how loud the band was even with my headphones, and there was no separate volume for the headphones on my keyboard, so I can separately turn it up or down. So there might be some way inside of a menu somewhere, because that Roland keyboard that I was using, the VRO9B, is an amazing keyboard for performance. I man, there's nothing else I'd want to have. It just
This
makes
is what I'm
everything so
using
easy.
for my synth.
Yeah. See, I could have that cranked and I would not hear it. I'd have to have that next to my ear if I wanted to
A
hear it.
Gorilla amp?
Nah, there's that would not work for a monitor. I would need a, you know, seriously quality, you know.
Well, this is what I power my. This is what my keyboard.
Yeah.
When I want it loud, because this has its own.
I'm talking about, you know, 2 guitars with half stacks, and one guy actually had a full. Well, he didn't have a full stack. He had two buys, some EVHs, stealth. You know, I mean, these guys have some serious, you know, gear. 50 or 100 watt amps on top of 4 buys, right? And it's the kind of music that moves you. It's that loud, you know. It's like, you know, wind in your hair if you had hair, kind of music. The bass was like just, it was just like loud, you know. So I could not hear myself. The first song that I was up to play was one that I only played once before in my life, for the first time at the last practice on Friday night. They decided to say, "Hey, Laz, can you play Simple Man by Skinner?" I'm like, "Oh, I know that song." It's like so easy. So I'm like, so I wing it, you know, at the and with the organ, the whole B3 thing, with, you know, the rotating vibe going on and off and speeding and slowing down and using distortion
I
on
was
and
playing
off.
along with that last night.
Dude, it came off so great. I
playing
practiced.
along with it. It was good.
We only had to do like 2 runs, and they're like, "Dude, you nailed that. It's perfect. It's fucking sounds so amazing." Blah 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 blah. Hey Charles, what's up? So yeah, man, it was you know, it came off no problem. But at the gig, they were so much louder, I couldn't even hear myself. I couldn't even hear a single note. So I told Paul, you know, I'm like, "Dude, I need to be able to hear myself. I can't hear what I'm playing." And he's like, "Oh," and he's like, "Just turn the PA speaker toward my head." And so that's what I had the rest of the night. So one of the performance, you know, stresses that you can have that are actually good stresses. Not all stress is bad. This is something I'm stressing. Not all stresses are bad, because these are things that you learn through performance of any kind, whether it's an athletic performance or you're, you know, doing a spelling bee and you have to perform under fire or whatever, you know. Performance or being up in front of people, you know, is a different thing. Speech, people have problems with speaking in front of people, right? Speech is something a lot of people have difficulty with.
See,
And
that's
so you
one
have
of the things
to
I like about
what?
the music sheet, the music stand with the music in front of the.
Yeah,
Because it's not much of a barrier, but it's a partnership that
yeah.
I look at the sheet to make sure I keep myself straight.
Right.
It keeps me away from stressing out about what's happening with the audience, because
Right.
I'm not going to have no barrier. I would just get distracted.
See, and that's another side of the performance thing too, is that sometimes you have to do something like that, where you do have to create the environment for yourself to not be distracted by what's going on out there, you know. And I actually
Like what the heck?
I
Like what the heck
enjoy
is Jim
the
doing?
connection. So for me, it's all about connecting with them. When I'm doing the music and playing the music itself, it's just flowing, and I'm just letting it flow. Like, I couldn't even hear myself, but I just kept playing the parts that I knew I had to play, and I just assumed that people could hear it. And afterwards, they told me, "Man, that sounded great." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm glad it sounded good to you," because I couldn't hear myself at all, you know. But that's something that someone else might freak the heck out, you know. And they were like, "God, I can't play." Like, that guy walked off because he's like, "Man, you guys aren't playing in the right key, and I'm out of here," you know. And
He was the one that tuned the wrong key.
I tried several times to tell Paul, you gotta play you're in the wrong key, man. And I think part of the problem for them too is that they didn't have monitors for themselves either. So I don't know if he heard the guitars well enough, because he's also the singer. So he's singing and playing the bass at the same time. And I don't think he could hear himself well enough with the guitar. So, you know, you're in a small bar, you're playing a gig where you're not miking the amps for the guitars or anything. Everything's just, you know, like the old days with the Beatles or whatever. You just get loud amps and crank them up. That was it. There was no PA, even though we did have a PA, and that's what I was running into. But there wasn't, you know, it wasn't like we didn't have an opportunity to do a proper, you know, sound check. There was no sound check. And there were some people that showed up later with their equipment, because this was kind of like a hodgepodge of, hey, we're going to get all these people together to play. There are all these various band members from various bands, and a couple of the bands are going to play.
That was a cool concept though, right?
It was pretty kind of interesting and crazy kind of thing that this guy Paul put together, but it was fun. I mean, it was definitely cool. Yeah, and I would do it again. You know, I would just get myself a monitor.
But you know, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The monitor. I don't have any monitors here, but the speakers face me.
I'm talking about a wedge. You just have it down in front of you on the floor.
I don't. The speaker
aimed up at you.
Right. Well, my PA speakers face me.
Right. But see,
so I hear myself through the.
That's fine if you're
PA
playing
speakers
by yourself, Janice. But when you're playing with a group of other people, you got to have something where you can hear them and yourself, and have that mix right, so that. You can. Yeah.
When people come over to my house, I could do that.
Right, but the point is that
the same thing.
Yep, and see, this is the interesting. Why I wanted to bring this up. This is very interesting, where the difference in, like, if Brent wasn't working right now, I'd have him on the show too. But he's working on Sunday mornings now. I'd have him on the show too to talk about, because he's played out at open mics, and then he's been invited, because they like his playing, to actually do like a set of stuff, you know. And so he's done some YouTube stuff where he's performing on YouTube. You know, it's a different thing when you're in a room like this and you're performing for people. Like Johnny Beane does his Sunday night show thing, and then other people like Vince Janella does his thing. Then people will create or do videos that they put up on the Metal Hippie Show. You know, so many people, like our friend Dwight Bailey, you know, doing his songs and stuff. So there's, you know, and there's all the Twitchers and TikTokers and Instagrammers out there putting up music. So there are different forms of performance, and I think they all can have like a value, a therapeutic kind of value. Hey, G Butchnoff, what's up, dude? Thanks so much, you guys. I like having you guys hang out. I love what William was saying here, is talking about hanging together with that's what's wonderful about this online, you know, community of musicians and people, right? We get to share all this stuff with each other. It's so awesome. So live performance, I thought I'd bring out some of the therapeutic benefits and stresses that sometimes are negative and positive, because these are challenges that if you learn to overcome, they can help you in a lot of other ways in life. You know, my daughter, as a matter of fact, I was talking to her this morning. It's kind of funny. I was talking to her this morning, and there's a condo that's owned by like our family, one of our family members, that is mostly empty throughout the year, and it's used by the owners of it. My in-laws, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's parents used to go, and then he uses it, and they use it, and I've used it, and my mom's used it. All of us, when we travel to Hungary, use it, because it's in the Castle district in Budapest, on the Buda side, which is the nice side. It's in a great location. I mean, it's a freaking amazing location, and it's right by where my sister's university is. And you know, she had asked, hey, is there any chance I could use that for school, so I don't have to get a dorm room, or I don't have to get an apartment or something. It's expensive and blah 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 blah. But it never worked out in the past, because the older guy, he's kind of, you know, gotten senile a little bit in his age, and he just, you know, wouldn't want anyone to use it and stuff, and so it was just difficult to get, you know, anything done with him. So now that things have changed there, you know, he's not in charge of it anymore. He's too old to you know, and they took it over, my brother and sister-in-law and her brother. So now they're like, oh yeah, Hannah can use it, you know, but they have another family member that's also been using it. And so they were going to share it, but now there's a problem with sharing it too. So there's these challenges, right? And what we understood was that she was going to definitely get to use the place. And then all of a sudden she's finding out that no, it's not going to work out. It doesn't look like. And so she was pretty upset about it. And so was I. And I told my brother about it too. He's like, no, this ain't, blah, 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 you know, and everyone's getting all upset about it and stuff. But then what Hannah said is that she was really distraught about this for, you know, several hours, and then, you know, for pretty much a whole day. But then she went to a show, music, and she's like, okay, I'm fine now. You know, it's like it like just the therapy of going to a live performance or being involved in a live performance. There's something about it that's special. It's not, you know, you can have a good feeling of listening to a song or whatever, but it's only one song long, and you can listen to whole albums or whatever. But man, I tell you, it's not the same as when you're in a room with other humans sharing the same experience of a live performance that is somehow so special and cathartic in so many ways, right? So the relief of stress, like what she was going through, was palpable. You know, I mean, you could feel how suddenly the stress is gone. You know, okay, we'll deal with that. You know, we'll figure out a way, and we will. You know, a lot of times you can't let those things go so easily, you know, because you don't want to. But then somehow music has a way of just, you know, let it go. You know, and so that's what's great about performing too. And when you actually are a performer up there, you learn these lessons of how to deal with stresses like that. You learn the lesson of, okay, the music didn't sound good. I couldn't hear myself. What am I going to do the next time to make it better? How, you know, am I going to get mad at Paul? No, I'm glad that he invited me along and got to, you know, be involved in this. And it was great. And my sister got to play drums on God Save the Queen. I didn't get to play guitars on that, but at least her friend Jeff got to, you know, play with them. And that one went well. You know, bottom line is that it was a great experience had by all, but nothing was perfect. And there were things about it that obviously, you know, in retrospect now, we'll go look back at it. And I'm not going to say anything negative. I already told him that, dude, I can't hear myself. And, you know, and he knows I don't need to make a deal about it. You know, I'm just going to bring a monitor next time. That's it. It's problem solved. Right. And then there were a few songs, like I said, that I noticed that he had a song list, where he had the note written down next to the song, what key the song was in.
Of course.
Or it wasn't even the key of the song, but what tuning you should have your guitar in, whether it's drop D or E.
That's
then
very
he had
wise.
some that said C sharp, you know, E sharp, you know, different things for the changes, what the changes are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I'm like going, the notes on some of these are different than how we've been playing them at practice. And I'm like, you have In the End by Linkin Park in C sharp, but we've been playing it in D sharp all this time, or E flat, whatever, however you want to call it. And I'm like, okay, I hope everyone knows that. That's going to be playing it.
Well, did you know which one is correct?
Well, the one that he had written down, I assume, was the way he was going to play it. So I played it in that key. The singer who was singing it wasn't singing it in that key. And it was bad. I think the guitars, there's not a lot of guitars in that song, you know. So, yeah, when you're hitting those chords and those heavy, you know, chords in that, and it has this like harmonic kind of ting ting kind of sounding thing going on, you got to hit those at the right notes. The guitarist was doing fine, and the drummer was doing fine. Drummer was great on that song, but the singer was all over the place. He's a younger guy, and you know why he was all over the place? Because he couldn't hear himself, because there was no monitor for him. And the guitars and the bass and the keyboards, everything was so loud, he couldn't hear his own voice except in his own head. And he was off. In some places he was on, but in some places he was really off. And I see my brother in the background just shaking his head, and it's like, oh, and I'm like, dude.
But,
you know.
But it's a punk show. Who cares?
Right. Well, here's the thing, and that's another side of it too. Another side of the performance thing is that, you know, I'm already an older guy. I've done this before. You know, I've played in front of people before. Some of these guys were like karaoke singers that were popping in on some of this, trying to create bands, and he was helping promote them to get them going and, you know, be a positive guy. And you could tell that some of these guys don't even know how to use a microphone. they're like turning their head when they're singing, looking around when they're singing, and not, the microphone's here and then it's here and then it's here, and then half of what they're singing you don't even hear what they're singing because they don't know how to use a mic because they're a karaoke guy. They're not a singer. Who knows? You move your head, you move
It
the
all
mic
depends on
with
what kind
you,
of
and it's
microphone you
always
have.
in front of your mouth. Otherwise, no one's gonna hear you. So
The
that was
dynamic
happening.
ones. The dynamic
And the
ones are
thing
different,
about
right? Omnidirectional.
yeah. Yes, Boomster Black. You've got to establish the stage volume. And like I said, there was no sound check because everybody was bringing their equipment at different times of the afternoon, and then finally we went on at 6 o'clock. There was no sound check, like get everything leveled. Me and the bassist did the keyboards and him and his and the drums weren't mic'd, so the drums were just acoustic drums. So the acoustic drum for the first time wasn't the loudest thing in the room. Except when this one guy played at the end when the Chaos Band, which is Paul's band, this is a serious band. Oh, Janice jumped out. The Chaos Band, when they played, that drummer was great. Man, that guy could play. And he was banging those drums, man. It was pop, on the snare. So, excuse me, he was loud. Let me have a little sip of something. So, when he was playing the drums, you could really hear him. But this other guy was, playing good, but he was just, it's like, I wish he would, hit that, like, but he hears himself. He doesn't hear the rest, and this is why a lot of places nowadays, when they're doing gigs and you see shows nowadays, right? Oh, Janice popped out. She wants to come back in now, probably. Add you back to the stage. What's up, Janice? You're back.
The damn print
What happened?
feature came up.
Oh, anyway. So I don't know if you heard any of what I was saying, but yeah, the bottom line is that, if you want your show to really come off sounding good, you need to do a proper sound check. People got to be there on time, and you got to do, and for some people that can create a lot of performance anxiety. Even some of the biggest pros will have sweats and shakes and stuff, and not just butterflies, but they'll be freaking the hell out if things aren't clicking, if things aren't jiving, if there isn't harmony with what's going on sound wise. I remember one time Yngwie Malmsteen, when he was doing one of his early tours behind his Rising Force album, he didn't come out for the longest time. It was almost like a Up in Smoke thing where we were waiting and waiting and waiting the band to come on, because there was some issue with his amps, and he was not having it. He was not going to perform unless it was the way he wanted it, because he knows, number one, he deserves it, and number two, the audience deserves it. And this is something that Johnny Beane obviously rubs in my nose all the time about my YouTube channel and how I don't do it right. And I understand him. It's a little bit of a different animal, but in a way, he's right. If you're gonna do this, do it right, Laz. Get a freaking interface and do it right. Don't half-ass it, because the audience deserves it. And that's why my channel's not growing very quickly, because I haven't put the time and effort into it, to deserve that, growth. And that's the bottom line. I get it, and I'm not willing yet in life to devote that much more of my time to this, because I do have other, very important priorities in life. And I do this, it's more of a entertainment to all. I'm trying to be informational as well and make it fun, but man, I know it takes a lot of time and effort to do this right and to really grow a good channel. And there's a lot of competition in it too. And there's some money in it, but there's not a lot of money. And you have to hope that the crowd of people that you have watching you are going to support you, that they find enough value in what you're doing. And I get it. It totally makes sense, but it's tough. It's tough to devote it all to that and hope it all works out, because you see how it sometimes doesn't for people. And just like anything, and that there's a big risk that you take, I think, for making that change in your life, right? But yeah, it depends on how badly you want it, and it also depends on what else you got going on. Because if you do have other skills and other things you can do, they can distract you or take you away from that, because you can do those other things to make money or whatever you need to, right? So I admire for Johnny, I admire him for, putting it all in there to make it happen, right? And then you got guys like Ron, who's got a lot of talent too, as a guitar painter, builder, and whatnot. And he's retired. He's got time to put into it, and you can see how much further along he's gotten in a much shorter period of time because he's able to put that time into it. So I'm talking about this when it comes to the performance aspect of it, even like performing here on YouTube as a YouTube, what do you want to call it? I don't know. A YouTube person, a YouTuber. There's that side of it too. The performance of this, doing this kind of performance where you have to, decide on what you want to do and how you want to do it, and take the punches that come. That's just the way it is. And you can only, if you want to be the greatest, you want to be the best, you got to put way more time and more of your life and effort into it, right? Said Marshall says, my band, I'm going to take these off for a second. I could read it better. My band had an amazing show on Friday. Awesome. First time at the venue, amazing staff, great food, and the crowd was fantastic. It is therapy. Yeah, absolutely. Right. And everybody there probably agrees with you. Not just you, the performer, but probably, the people that run the venue made some money. They're happy. I mean, music as a way of making a living, there's a lot of happy stuff that goes along with it. It's a really great thing if it's popular enough where people really enjoy and want to hear it. And now this guy, he's asking me if I want to, do I want to do some cover stuff with their cover band called Memorex, like the cassette thing. Because they do cover stuff, and he says we can get some paid gigs if you want to do some paid gigs. Because my wife said, hey, Laz, are you getting paid for this? And I'm like, not yet. And then I mentioned that my wife's comment to the guys at the practice, and then Johnny's all like, you already mentioned money and you haven't done your first gig with these guys yet. And I'm like, well, I've been playing music all my life, on and off, and I've never really gotten paid for it. I've gotten paid a few times, but I've never really gotten paid for it. I always did it as a labor of love, kind of thing.
I got a drink one time.
Why shouldn't you?
A free drink for the people that perform.
Yeah, I always got that. Free
I am a professional now.
Yeah, right. If you could feed yourself at the gig. But how about after the gig during the week? So, that's the thing, is that you can make money at this, but the thing about being a cover gig, or if you're going to be like a wedding band or event like that kind of thing, you're going to be giving up a lot of your weekend time.
Right, exactly.
And
Marshall, I want to say something to Marshall.
To do that.
I want to say something to Marshall. You guys are going to be jamming together. What platform are you using? Because people I know in the Twitch, they've been using Jamtaba, and that's worked out really well. I've seen it 2 times where they've played together in different countries at the same time.
That is so awesome. That's one of the dreams I had when we had our studio in San Mateo in the mid-90s. That was something that I wanted to create or be involved in, is, finding a way to be able to do that, play live,
It was Sandra Klepper and Unknown Artist UK and Sandra Klepper and Kid Pachoklo. And he did it with 2 different people, and it was a success both times. Really great.
Mm-hmm.
But the 16 bar latency. They have to be. They have to know exactly when to come in.
Yeah. And it's not tough to do that, but you do have to have some experience at it, right? And it could be a great experience. It could be to perform like that.
I've been so busy spinning plates online, Marshall. I really apologize.
Janice has got her own thing going on.
you read, if you read my posts on Facebook, you'll know what I'm going through, because I'm in a constant media meltdown.
Yeah, check this out, you guys. So like Marshall's saying
Because
here, if
I
you
mean, if
guys
you tune in,
want to see how to do it, check it out. Watch how they do it.
well,
And
you know, send me a message, say that you got to really watch this one. Because you know, otherwise, I really don't really watch too much YouTube at all. I watch Johnny, I watch Laz, I watch Brent, and I watch Rick Romanelli, and
yeah, I love Rick.
that's about it. That's all I really watch. Maybe one or two videos, but I spend so much time on the other platforms that you know I can almost you know sign off of YouTube permanently. But
Right.
I also watch Mitch every once in a while when I can. And I try real hard to watch Dave Levine. And I come in to say hi and bye in all these other places. And
Yeah.
I started to have
That's
to.
kind of happened to me with the Metalhead Hippie show crowd too. Great people, and there's always new music and new people in there, so it's always good to pop in there once in a while.
Oh yeah, Flipside Music. I try to watch them.
I try to, but it's hard because a lot of times with my work, I get distracted by, you know, well, I'm working and I get phone calls. I have to concentrate or talk to someone or whatever. So it's hard to keep up with it. So a lot of times I'll have it on in the background like a radio station, like he says, you know, just working and lurking. And sometimes it's like the time of when those shows are on don't usually always work out for me.
Absolutely.
So I'll try to watch them some other time. But I'm also using a lot of YouTube stuff. I'm trying to learn things. I'm watching a lot of podcasts and other things where I'm learning about other subjects that are not musical, you know, that are interesting to me. So yeah, I mean, we live at a very interesting age, right? Where we have so much, if you want to call it entertainment or infotainment or whatever, so much available to us out there. It's mind-numbing. And like you even admitted last week, I think it was, you said something about you stepped away from music for a day or something like that, and it was
right
kind of
on
nice.
Facebook.
Yeah,
you
and
said
it was kind of nice
to take a break.
You know, right?
Well, yeah.
It's sometimes good to just get away from it all for a little while and you know, kind of recharge. Kind of like when you go to sleep and you dream and then you wake back up and you're back at it again.
I haven't, you know, been to an open mic in almost 7 months.
Yeah.
And I haven't opened up my book in 7 months. But it's going to be pretty soon. I got to open it
right?
up.
Never apologize, Janice. Tom Petty said so. So yeah, so back to the performance side of things, though.
See, I got a fear of missing out too.
Yeah, Boomster Black. That's another part of what I really love about the more you play and perform with others, and sometimes you can sit in on a different instrument. And we used to do that a lot at the jams that we do at my brother's, at my cousin Joe's, or at my cousin Art's, more at my cousin Art's, is that, you know, different people will sit in, and I used to encourage people, you know, oh, I'm not that good at the drums. And I'm like, well, just get in there and do it for a while, and, you know, and after a while they get good at it, you know, and pretty soon they're practicing it, or they get a little electronic drum set, or they're thinking about it more when they're listening to music, right? And that's another really good part about playing with other people in live performance or live playing, is that, you know, you'll learn to appreciate, you know, the entire band, every, you know, instrument and what puts it all together. And if you can learn how to perform in those situations, there were times when something happened, the drummer didn't show up or something, I jumped in and I just started playing the drums, because there was this one event one time at a Hungarian event where the drummer came, set up all this stuff, and then he went to go pick up his daughter, and they had a flat tire or something happened. And the keyboard guy, who was also playing saxophone, and then they had a bass player, the keyboard guy was trying to use the drum machine this was like in the 90s, early 90s, trying to use the drum machine that was built into his like Casio keyboard or whatever, and use that instead of the drummer. But the other players weren't playing to the beat of the drum machine. It was weird, because you know how a drummer will find when you're off, and he'll catch up to you or play to you or whatever, right? That's the whole Alex and Eddie Van Halen thing. those two together, they were magic, right? And that was a big part of the sound. The thing is that you know, it was so bad. I just went up there, and I was like, I wasn't even an experienced drummer, but I played some drums here and there, and I'm like, I can at least do better than this because it's just pa music, you know, and it's that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I can do that and keep a beat for them, going with the bassist who wasn't going with the drum machine. And sometimes the bassist expects you to follow him or her, right? In this case, it was a woman. And so I just, you know, she was the bassist leading it, and I just started playing the drums. And I told the guy, just don't use that drum machine thing; it's not working. And then for a good half an hour, like the first set, I was able to, you know, we were able to pull it off so that the people could dance and have a good time. You know, it's good to be able to know how to play different instruments. Laz, have you listened to my songs yet? I'll have to go look, Boomster Black. I might have. I can't recall. There's so many people out there that send me the same message. But, you know, if you send me any specific video or something like that to my email, I'll definitely watch it, you know, and I'll even share it, you know. But I get so easy. That one of my number one faults in life, or my personality, is that I get easily distracted by too many things that I have going on at once. So I'll forget, like you telling me, hey, listen to my music, you know, I'll forget about it in an hour from now. But I'll try to make a mental note now while I'm driving to my mom's today, because I got to help her with something. I'll listen to it on the way there. But if you have any specific music that you want me to listen to or share, email it to musictherapylaz@gmail.com. Look at Janice. Look at all the music she's listening to.
This is all Blamar's music that I've ordered, like since I got half of them over there. This is all I could grab. All the CDs that I've bought since August. Blamar's history.
Yeah, I keep seeing your posts on Facebook on that.
And how am I going to listen to them? I got one in the bin right now.
Decide, Janice. You have to make a decision.
I got one in the bin right now. I'm never going to listen to it.
Like, I have to decide that I'm going to go Tuesday nights and practice with this band, and that's just the way it is.
And I have
changed my what?
I have to show my face pretty soon because you know, I'm disappearing into the woodwork around here, and so that's going to really you know, put you know, some time away even from you guys. Sometime.
Yeah, and it's life, and it's okay. You know, I was just going to say that, you know. I originally changed my channel from Thursday to Wednesday because they told me that we're going to have rehearsals on Thursdays. But then they kept saying, meet on Tuesday, meet on Tuesday. Well, they also, this guy Paul also with this guy Joe's, my brother John's neighbor, they also do rehearsals for another band that they do together on Thursdays. And that's the one that they want me to do, like the cover stuff, like 80s, like synth stuff, you know. So I'm like, yeah, you know, but then now there's like two bands that, you know, if I'm going to join two bands, at least the rehearsal place is the same place. And now I've got my sister's garage getting set up as the additional rehearsal space with drums, you know, that we can rehearse at. So that's why my sweetie's like, are you getting paid for this? Because she's like, you know, you're putting a lot of time into this, Laz. I'm not seeing you as often. Are you getting paid for this? So there's that side of it too. Hey, Peggy was there. She was there last night watching the show on Twitch, right? Peggy, you watched some of it live. Did it sound okay? I don't know. I don't know how it sounded, to be honest, because I couldn't hear myself. Oh, you did? Okay, cool. Right on, Peggy.
It was cool hanging in the chat with you, Peggy.
The thing is Johnny said something about, oh, you can watch it and even clip stuff out of it. And then I went to the Twitch stream and I didn't see it there. It said, oh, the live stream is over. And I'm like, oh, how do I re-watch it if I want to watch it? So I couldn't figure that out last night. Maybe I'll figure it out during the day.
Johnny doesn't save them.
What's that?
You have to be able to save them.
Yeah, or he can send it to me or something. I don't know. I guess he
I don't even know whether
download it,
still
send it to me or something.
Holds on because they only last a certain amount of time on Twitch, and it's all wasted stuff. I mean, they should save everything or download it like I did with my stupid four test streams that I've done so far. Excuse me. And I put it in on YouTube. So Johnny should do that. Put them on YouTube,
Yeah.
like he does with the Johnny Beane too.
Well, the thing about last night is that it was
Last night
mostly
was-
all covers, so you know that ain't gonna work
Right.
on YouTube. Most of those songs are, you know, gonna cause a copyright strike for sure, or something. It's copyright, you know, infringement of some sort. If not a strike, it'll be something.
Did you God Save the Queen? Did they do that?
I don't know, but you know, whoever owns, that's the thing, is that you don't know who owns any of this music anymore. People are buying people's discographies
Right.
or whatever you want. They're buying their entire catalogs of music now, you know. So even if it's not a problem now, it'll probably be a problem in the future, most likely. That's why Johnny's even saying don't even use that given to you bumper music and stuff, because someday someone's gonna buy that because everyone's using that bumper music and say, hey, you guys gotta all pay me for all these videos that you have done in the past.
You mean the
You know.
30-second thing countdown?
Yeah. What if somebody, it's just like, you know, the smiley face emoji. Somebody decided to copyright and trademark that first one, the round face with the dot smile, and said, oh, you guys can't use that. That I own that. I have that. I have the copyright rights to that, and you can't use that. So that's why everyone started making their own versions of that are a little bit different, because that was the only way to avoid the copyright infringement laws.
I understand that now.
Whatever. Some rich Russian guy did that. He actually probably got even more rich off that. So the thing is that, you know, performance, back to the performance thing, is that there are a lot of good aspects of the preparation for the performance. There's stress, but it can be, you know, consider it like working out. You know, you're stressing your body when you're lifting weights or working out or jogging or whatever.
Or carrying your guitar around.
It's good for your body, so it's like a good thing to do that, right?
Carry your guitar around too. It must weigh 15 pounds.
Yeah. So it's good to do these things, and you get some exercise with it, but you want to be careful, like Koborodi was saying. You know, when you get to a certain age, you don't want to be carrying around these 4x12s, and that's why they made like the Fender Tone Master series amps that are like way lighter. They might be solid state and simulated, you know, sounds and tones, but they're pretty good. You know, getting pretty good at those things now. And that's the thing, is that it all depends on your situation, your circumstance, you know, whatever your needs are. But get out. I guess I could end the show because we're already over. End the show on, you know, this point that get out there, play live.
If he's not here and he watches the replay,
it's a good form of therapy.
Here's my Johnny Beane picks.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, man. Right on. Awesome. Get out there, perform, you know, go through the good stress of preparing. You know, there can be stresses involved in finding bandmates and getting along with each other, but these are all part of our, you know, human experience in life.
I want you to do that.
And helps us grow, you know, as a human being and a person in the world, you know. It teaches, you know, some people, like there's certain people that used to be on Johnny's show that wanted it only one certain way, you know, and they wanted to be the center of attention, or they, you know, they don't play well with others. And how about learning to be, you know, a little bit more, you know, open to playing well with others? You know, we are social animals or beings or whatever, and I think we are happier when we are able to get along with each other better, right? I've always felt, personally, I think you're like this too, Janice, you can never have too many friends, you know, because a true friend will understand that, hey, we don't have to talk and hang out every day. I have friends that live in Europe that I don't see, or I haven't talked to in years sometimes, and then hey, I'm in town, what are you guys up to, let's get together. And it's like you know, like not a day went by from the last time you were hanging out. There are some people that aren't like that, you know, they get all worked up, you know, like, oh, you haven't contacted me in a year, why should I, you know, you're no friend of mine. I've never had that kind of attitude, because I understand that we all have busy lives, and we you know, we have different interests, and sometimes our interests will, you know, bring us together, and sometimes we're just too busy with all these other things to get together. And that's why, like you know, our friend was saying, roadies, or was it Marshall? Set up by Marshall was saying, like Tom Petty said, don't apologize, man. If they don't understand, they don't understand. You don't have to explain to everyone every little thing. But I think we do try to explain some of these things to those who don't understand, hoping that maybe they will learn and understand, and then we can all get along and be happier in this world together, right? It's a big world, but we're rubbing shoulder to shoulder with each other more and more as there's more of us, and we got to find a way to share, resources, everything from space to time to the things we need to eat and use and build and work, all this stuff. I mean, it's challenging. I think music is one of the things that really helps you, kind of gel. It helps everyone connect and gel in a way. And like my daughter, she was upset about that she might not be able to use this apartment like we had hoped. And she went to a show and she says, you know what? Letting it go, man. This will work. We'll work something out. We'll figure it out. Not going to get upset over it. Let's try to get, let's see if we can get beyond this and work it out. And music can help in that way, and in performing especially, right? Thank you, Boomster Black. But it's true, isn't it? Truth, man. This is the truth. I think that's what I'm trying to get at with this show. And music has a way of expressing the truth, I mean, man, how many songs do you guys know of, right? Where, wow, yeah, 3 chords in the truth, man. so I'll end the show on that. What do you guys think?
Sometimes 2, and even sometimes
leave
1.
them in the comment section.
Chord.
What's that?
Maybe sometimes 2 chords, maybe 1 chord.
Sometimes
Ask 2 or 3 chord chants.
1 chord in the truth.
Did that link work?
I don't know. Click on that, people, because I can't, because I'm in the show. But see if that works. Wherever that takes you, go there next. And William Silva, Mitch Heyman saying, I did have an EVH standard, but never took the time to learn the Florida Rose and never really used it.
Is it in blue at least?
I want to try again. Yeah, you know what? Okay, it works, says
Thank
Mitch.
You.
So, dude, I highly recommend learning how to use a Floyd because it's really great to know, how to play on and use any of these very popular kinds of, mechanisms or tools that you can find on a guitar. But, there are people that just know, they're like, I'm just not a Floyd dude, and that's that. And they just play a Telly all their lives, I highly recommend.
I played a Telly all my life until I rediscovered the Strat over here and all the other ones, and that Telly sits for years now.
Right? Because you like the whammy bar, don't you, Janice? You like the wiggle stick, as Henning calls it. It's fun to play with that. Woo, woo, woo. So, you know what, you guys? I used to say it all the time. Shows.
It always got to revert back to that kind of subject, right?
I don't know why. It's part of our human nature, Janice. It's unavoidable. It's such a primal, instinctual thing that we can't get away from it.
like last night when I was eating my creamsicle.
15. That's a pretty good number, Mitch. Yeah, I'm gonna start because I told my daughter too that I haven't had a lot of work lately, and I'm a little stressed in that sense that I don't have the money that I normally would have. And I'm getting a lot of nice things from people and stuff, but unless I sell them, I've got no money. So I am gonna sell some of my gear. I mean, we're getting back to the purge thing here, but I'm definitely gonna be selling some pedals and things like that. Maybe even a guitar or two. I did give away some as gifts, so I gave Hannah her birthday guitar. So you don't see that blue one over here anymore because this one here is taking its spot. That D'Angelico I did buy hoping that she'd want it someday, and she did, and she loves it. And then I sent it to her with everything that she needed, pedals and maintenance kit and extra strings and all the stuff that you would need to run it. And she had one of her more experienced guitar friends tell her, "Whoa, this is a lot of really cool. So I wish I had to set up like this, you know." And even though it was a fairly simple setup, it does everything that you basically want to do as a guitarist outside of having, like, you know.
I don't know if that one's going to work.
So that link.
Yeah. Because
Yeah, it's nice to connect with people, right? I'm not monetized either, Boomster Black. I don't know if you know, but I've been thinking about it, you know, and I don't know. I've been wanting to wait till I hit 1,000. That's kind of why I kept pushing. Let's help me get me to 1,000, because then maybe I'll monetize. But I've noticed other channels that have gotten over the 500 hump, they monetize as soon as they could, and I think that actually helps your channel grow, because when you start to monetize and you do more things that are interactive with the chat and with people, they appreciate your channel more, and then you're able to use some of that money to help, you know, improve the channel. And look at Johnny Beane's really taken off more too as a channel, because he's been really putting money that he gets, you know, back into it. And now he's going to be building out this little studio room that he's got going on. It's going to take him a couple months to put it all together, but that's cool, you know. So then he'll be able to give back more to, you know, the community that's supporting him through that. So there's that side of it, you know. And I've thought about doing it, but it does take time to set that up and do it properly, and I don't want to half-ass that. If I'm going to ask people for money or monetize, you know, it takes more time to deal with that, rather than just popping on and doing a live or shooting.
I've been approached to monetize my Facebook.
Yeah, right. So we'll see. You know, if you guys want to comment about that in the comments after the show, you know, leave me a comment or drop me a note in email or whatever. I've got all my socials and how you can reach me. And if you do want to support the show, of course, you know, I'm happily to take your support by PayPal, friends and family, like how, you know, I think the way that Metalhead Hippie's doing it pretty smart. He does put a lot more back into, I mean, pretty much everything that he gets, he puts into it. And that's what I'd like to do too. But I'd definitely like to do, you know, more of the original music as well and put that out there. That's why I originally started the channel, thinking, oh, I'll put some of my music up there and see if people like it, you know. And that'd be really great to do too. And then even collaborating with people like, you know, Texas Jackdaw and, you know, Brody's Jam Cave and Set Up by Marshall and all these guys on the Hippie Show, this awesome community there, you know, Lori's Miss Mosh, Lori, and everyone else that's there. You know, it'd be great to collaborate with some other people and put some music together with some other people. And yeah, you gotta, I guess you gotta, you know, time is the one thing that we are limited by, if you want to call that a limitation, right? We have to decide on something and prioritize it, right?
If you're interested, here's my link tree.
Yeah, right, Mitch. You didn't want to, because then there's going to be ads, and then, you know, the other side of it too is that then you become responsible, in a sense, to those people that are supporting you, right? And then there's an expectation, right? And you have to fulfill that expectation then. And, you know, that's the other side of it, that, you know, you're going to have to prioritize some time in your life for that. And then the question is, you know, is it going to be worth it? All the time you put into it? Is it, you know, right now I'm doing this, you know, out of like labor of love, like I was saying. So for me, I'm fine with that, you know, but my sweetie's like, well, why, you know, everyone else is monetized. Why don't you, you know, you could help pay for the subscription thing at least, or whatever, you know, help pay for the StreamYard, help pay for some of your time you're putting into it. I'm like, yeah, I know, you know. So I'm having, you know, a little bit of a, you know, struggle with that, because then I'm going to be beholden to you all, and I'm going to have to take it more seriously and have to, you know, really up my game.
And you're going to have to report it too.
Yeah, see, and that's the other thing, you have to report it too. That's why, like, the guys, our friends Martin and Lucas of L&M Guitar Corner, right? In Austria, the rules are much more tight and strict when it comes to that kind of thing. And you can't just up and, you know, you got to run it like a business. Whereas here, you get a little more, you get away with it a little bit more easily here, don't you think? Yeah,
StreamYard?
right, Mitch? It's all fun for me, like Mitch is saying, right? It's all fun for me. I don't want people to give me anything. I help people get their audio set up and then can stream properly. I never take any money, right? Right on, Charles. Run off. Off you go. I got to go too. Thanks for the shows too. I'll be watching some of your shows. And now, Boomster Black, I'm going to go right to your channel. And I'm going to watch whatever you got there now. And then send me an email of what, you know, what do you want me to check out and watch? And I can share whatever you want me to share. I'll share it on my Facebook page and stuff like that. That's what I use my Music Therapy Labs Facebook page for the most part. I share people's stuff and I clip things out of other things I watch and listen to that I think might be interesting to you all. And yeah, it's always good to support each other, right? So do that. And I used to end on this in the past all the time. I'm going to come back to it, even though this is the Music is Therapy show, and maybe not everyone here is here for tone and gear and all that. But and there's Johnny Beane. He's here. We don't always know if that's really him though, because actually because he has a wrench, that is the real Johnny Beane. By the way, Johnny's been getting like people have been like imitating him. Like they're taking his actual like avatar and using that and pretending to be him in other shows and chats, like on Steve from Boston's show the other night.
Like a parody channel.
So beware. Sometimes if you see this Johnny Beane character out there saying some things that are not really characteristic of the real Johnny Beane, it's probably not Johnny Beane.
if
or you
you
might want to message
back,
Johnny Beane and say, "Hey Johnny, is this you in this show?"
I showed my
it might not
my
be.
Johnny Beane pics.
Yeah, there you go. Right on. I remember when I first got my first Johnny Beane pic from Johnny Beane. That was cool. Yeah.
Okay, there.
The godfather of YouTube, as I call him. And Hobo Roadie, the most amazing dude in the world. Looking forward to someday coming up and visiting you up there in Oregon. Or if you're going to come down for that show in Gurneville, I think it is, right? What's his name? I'm slipping my mind. It's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, there's a show. If you come down for that, dude, you have a place to stay if you want to stay at my place. You have to sleep right here on the couch, though. On the Music Therapy Labs room couch. The pull-out. It's actually a Serta sleeper couch. So it's real comfortable.
Nice.
Yeah. So until next time, you guys, I'll end it on my old phrase that I came up with. Trying to think of how it goes now, because see, this is the performance anxiety. Like, what am I supposed to say? How do I say it?
Oh,
The secret
it went
to
away. It went away.
Right? The secret to tone is in the mind, but the feel comes from your heart. Put it together with your hands and musical instruments and friends and rock on. Until then, you guys, until the next show. See you later. Thanks, Janice.
Thank you.
You rock.